My name is Meriam, and this is AJ, and today we're going to be talking about immigration policies in America. Me personally, I think immigrants are ruining this country, and that we shouldn't be letting them in like we are, and that they're just causing all sorts of problems for us Americans, and I don't think they should be here.
Well, in my opinion, I think immigrants build America and have always built America, and they should have a right to be here.
Well, no.
Oh,
Americans don't want these immigrants here. These immigrants are stealing jobs from real Americans and using up resources, and us, we don't want them here. As shown in this Gallup polling data from April 2024, Americans view immigration as the country's most pressing issue. Okay, we don't want them here, so get out.
well, polls are opinions of people, not actual data, so you cannot use that against immigrants.
Well, that doesn't matter, it just shows that us Americans, we don't want those immigrants here stealing our jobs. This article from Stephen Malenko states, although open border advocates say that these workers are simply taking jobs Americans don't want, studies show that the immigrants drive down wages of native-born workers and squeeze them out of certain industries. Why should a boss pay a hardworking American $15 an hour to do a job that some Mexican immigrant will do for 5 pennies an hour? Okay, so now that American's gonna have to work for less because those immigrants are driving down the wages. So now they can't make a living and they can't feed their family. And it's all because of the immigrants.
This is not an immigrant issue. Immigrants actually build the economy and don't have an effect on American jobs. And it is not an immigrant's fault that employers are willing to exploit them for more money. And there is no evidence that illegal immigrants take jobs from Americans. America's current unemployment rate of nearly 9% has nothing to do with immigration. The rate was below 5% for 4 years when, according to the Pew Hispanic Center, there were 1 million more illegal immigrants in the United States than today.
Yeah, and those illegal immigrants should also be kicked out because they are violent and they are causing problems. House Speaker Mike Johnson wrote in a letter to President Biden that the failure to secure the U.S. Mexico border has endangered both Americans and immigrants themselves by allowing drug smuggling, human trafficking, and the influx of dangerous individuals. Local communities have been devastated, and terrorists and dangerous individuals have entered illegally and dispersed across our country. We are now more vulnerable to a terrorist attack on our homeland than ever. Why should we be letting these people in? Do you want the hardworking American population to get addicted to fentanyl that these immigrants are selling?
Actually, I think immigrants are more likely to become victims of discrimination and violence because of Americans like you.
Well, if they weren't in this country in the first place, they wouldn't have gotten attacked. So maybe that's just a sign that because Americans are retaliating to their violence, that they should go back to their
Well,
countries.
well, many immigrants that come to America are fleeing from their homeland because of an oppressive government or violence is occurring in their country. And despite the Republican claims, immigrants are not feeling the opioid crisis. In reality, most migrants attempting to cross the border are seeking asylum after fleeing violence and poverty, and certainly aren't smuggling fentanyl in their backpacks. Plenty of statements and data from federal law enforcement show that fentanyl most commonly enters the U.S. in trucks and passenger vehicles at legal ports of entry, and the majority of them are transporting fentanyl are U.S. citizens who are less likely to draw attention at the border police.
Well, we're less likely to draw the attention of the border police because we cause less problems. You know, our country doesn't encourage violence. America is all about unity and freedom. And if we're gonna allow people from countries that encourage violence and that are violent, well, they're gonna bring that behavior to us too. And do we really want that for our America?
So you're willing to support smuggling if it's from real Americans, quote unquote, but not from illegal immigrants? What's the difference?
Well, those real Americans, okay, they're not illegal immigrants coming into this country doing crime, killing people, and just, I mean, why do you want real Americans to get addicted to fentanyl? I mean, we just shouldn't be letting these people in from countries that are just so like racist and or that are so like, you know, they just are violent and encourage this behavior. I don't think we should be letting them in. If they're, I don't want violence against myself or my children, but you are encouraging these illegal immigrants to come in here and jump my babies.
Trying to ban people from immigrating from certain countries is racist and xenophobic.
Xenophobic. What intonation is xenophobic? Bro, just making up words.
Xenophobic is the fear and hatred of strangers or foreigners, or anything that is strange or foreign. So by being a hater to these immigrants, you're being xenophobic.
Well, girl, it's not my fault that they're strange or foreign. I'm not racist because they're proven to be violent and have un-American values. From U.S. legal immigration policies are a problem too. I quote, during the 3 years from 2010 to 2012, immigrants have committed about a dozen mass murders in this country. The mass murders were from Afghanistan, South Korea, Vietnam, Haiti, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Mexico. None of them were from Canada or Western Europe or our country. Like, why are we letting all these people from all these different nationalities, all these different backgrounds in this country in the name of inclusion, but they're proven to have un-American values and are killing Americans? We shouldn't be letting them in this easy.
Well, wouldn't you want diversity in this country, and letting people from other countries allows that? And most Americans with birthright citizenship wouldn't even be able to pass the test immigrants have to take to become Americans. Do you know all the 50 states or 50 presidents?
Why does that matter? I'm still a real American, and we should be making these tests even harder to weed out all the dangerous people trying to come into our country. I mean, listen, the process does not seem that hard. According to this article, Naturalization, legal permanent residents are generally eligible for U.S. citizenship once they have lived continuously in the country for 5 years, are at least 18 years old, have not committed any serious crimes, have good moral character, and have a basic knowledge of the English language and U.S. civics demonstrated by passing the citizenship test. That doesn't sound so hard to me. I think you're exaggerating because you know that these immigrants can't read or write and they're trying to come into our country and ruin stuff.
Whoa. Well, the legalization process already takes a super long time, which many asylum seekers are trying to immigrate illegally and face dangers in the process while trying to immigrate.
Well, all these things that the government does that are considered unsafe for illegal aliens are for America's safety. Remember when things that were illegal were, you were charged for crimes because it was illegal? Why are we making it so easy for them to cross these borders? They're not even going to try to immigrate legally anymore if it's this easy.
America tries to nationalize illegal immigrants so they don't have to face these unsafe conditions, as the government doesn't feel that it's unsafe.
All these resources go into getting more immigrants in this country should be used for real Americans. They should be used to help us, not these random foreigners trying to come in here.
Well, what is your definition of a real American? As most people who are from this country are immigrants, were descended from immigrants.
A real American is an American that loves this country and has lived here for centuries.
Can't immigrants love this country too?
No, because they're not Americans. They're foreigners like you trying to infiltrate our spaces and our systems. You're not a real American like me.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means you should pack your bags and get back to your country. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's not...
Well, in the sense that...